Hello YouTube again. It's Slow but Steady Vegan here, and this video is about protein. I said I'd probably make one of these, and it's a question that most vegans get at some stage. Where on earth do you get your protein from? And of course the standard answer that you hear from us is it's in everything we eat anyway. So we get it from the foods we eat, the same way a person who eats meat would get their protein from the food that they eat. The difference of course is that we're not eating meat, and we're getting our protein from the plants and the fruits, which people don't think there's much in there. And for people who eat meat, who don't have normally that much vegetables and that many fruits, they're always told that they have to have more fruit and fibre in their diet and vegetables, a good source of all that sort of stuff. But for their protein, of course, they're looking at meat. So if they can get it from there, do we get enough? Well, as a vegan, I do get enough protein. The first thing to understand about it is really how much protein do you need? And of course there's conflicting views on that. And if you're in the dairy or the meat industry, they're obviously going to plug for their particular product that you should eat more and more of. So is there an upper limit? Well, the World Health Organization look at minimums and what's considered to be too much protein, because of course, like most things, you can have too much of a good thing, and protein being a good thing in your diet is just where you actually get it from. The first thing is that protein that we eat isn't the same as the protein that our body actually needs. Our body needs to change it. It can't use proteins in the form that it gets it, particularly in meat. It actually has to break down that protein. So to say that meat is a great source of protein, well, yes it is. It's all protein and fat. There's no fibre in there at all. So people need to think about where they get their fibre from if they're just eating those sort of things. But we have to convert it, and the body has great difficulty in converting meats to use as its own protein, and that's where we get that terminology of amino acids. Protein is made up of amino acids, and the protein that our particular body has to have, it has to make up from amino acids. So long and short of it is that anything that we eat, it looks at it in terms of the amino acids and then rebuilds it as a protein it can actually use. So in the case of plants and fruits, they actually have got amino acids straight away, so the conversion process is one less stage. You don't need to convert it from animal protein into amino acids and then into something that the human body protein can actually use. It's nipped one of those processes in the bud. So the waste that's actually produced and the hard work that your digestion has to go through with meats, you don't have anymore. Straight away, the percentage of protein that you eat from meat is not the same percentage that you actually then your body can use. So this is where we get variations in how much protein that the World Health Organization say that you should have. Now the minimum is something like 50 grams of protein, and it goes all the way up to maybe 150. They do margin of error, and equally what you actually eat is not actually what the body can use. So if you were having only 50 and had it only in meat, then what the body can probably use is much less than that, so you wouldn't be having enough protein in your diet. So they always go with a higher figure when they want to sell things to you. So they're thinking in terms of up to the 150, and of course if you're doing different types of exercise, you will of course need differing amounts depending on your particular needs and whether you feel that you want to grow a lot of bulk. But the most efficient way of actually transferring what you put in your mouth to what your body can actually use, and the minimum amount of wastage, So the quickest way and the minimum amount of wastage is with plant-based products. So this is where things like bananas are brilliant, and beans, and soya beans, and to a certain extent nuts, but everything, even the green stuff that we eat, has got a very small percentage of protein in there, but what it has got we can actually use more of. So as long as you've got a wide variety and you're having enough calories for your particular person on that day and activity level, which, let's face it, for most people is around about the 2000 calorie mark, and if you're active it will be going up from there. It's very easy if you're eating fruits, if you're eating a whole plant-based diet, to get the right amount of protein within that, and what you'll be getting is a mixture of amino acids which can then be used by the body to actually do protein. Remember, the biggest growth that we have as humans is in those first few months when we're born, and in the first few months that we're born we have some form of milk which is produced by the mum, and the actual percentage of protein that's actually within that is around about the 10% figure that most people who are on a vegan diet and looking at whole plant foods would be looking at as 10% of their calories for a day would come from a protein source, and that translates to the 80-10-10 diet, which a lot of people know about. So 80% carbohydrates and 10% protein, 10% fat, and you quite easily get those sort of figures if you have a plant-based diet. Varying degrees, some people say you only need 5% of your calories to be protein and to be fat, but again, whatever works for you. If you're looking about 10%, then that is going to be the sort of 50 grams worth of protein that the World Health Organization say that you should be having. So where do we get our protein from, and how much do we need, and have we got good sources of it? Well, yes, we need about 50 grams, and we get them from plant sources, and it's enough. Majority of people who live into their hundreds in the world are predominantly having a plant-based diet, so there can't be anything too detrimental in that. And in fact, if you look at the rest of the planet and the fact that they don't tend to get to 100 years of age, there's got to be something wrong with their diet. So if you look at predominantly the rest of the world and where those people are and what sort of meals they're eating, you then start to see that those people predominantly have got meat in their diet and dairy in their diet. So which is the better way to actually have longevity? Is it with having a plant base, or is it to have meat and dairy? And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that the natural foods that we have in plant-based diets work for us. You're not deficient, you don't have lots of diseases, and therefore give it a go if you're not already doing it. If you're doing it already and are eating a healthy mix of those sort of foods, then you'll know already you have lots of energy, mood is really good, and you feel great every day. Okay, so I think I've answered the question on the protein side. So if you like this video, like, comment below, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you for more videos. Thanks very much, thanks for watching, see you in the next one.